We can start with 3 long and deep breaths to center ourselves. Breathing in, I'm aware of my in-breath. Breathing out, I'm aware of my out-breath. In, out. Breathing in, my breath grows deep. Breathing out, my breath goes slowly. In, deep, out, slowly. Breathing in, I'm aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I relax my whole body. In, aware of body. Out, relaxing body. Breathing in, I'm aware of whatever feeling that are currently in my mind and body. Breathing out, I release that feeling. In, aware of feeling. Out, release the feeling. Now that we have established a rhythm of breathing and awareness, let's connect with a difficult feeling or emotion that we have. Breathing in, I'm aware of that emotion. Breathing out, I send love and compassion to that emotion. Breathing in, aware of that difficult emotion. Out, sending love and compassion. Now let's return to our body. Breathing in, I'm aware of my body. Breathing out, I harmonize my breathing and my body. In, out. Thank you for your practice. Hi, Amia. All right, so welcome to our Diamond Sutra class where we all will become a diamond transformer. One word in the chat. Tell me, describe your day in one word and put in the chat. Just one word. We want brief. You have to condense everything into one word. Restful, persistent, hopeful, grateful, busy, rewarding, peaceful, happy, bright, Amia, happy, eventful, taxing, happy, beautiful, blessed. Thank you. Busy, busy, happy, happy. Oh, good. All right. Exhausted. Yeah, it's just the middle of the week, so all right. So last week we talked a little bit about different types of food. There's the one that we are very familiar is edible food, right? Um, the food that we consume with our mouth. But there's also this learning and practicing is a kind of food for our mind. It is, consciousness and sense impressions and volitional thoughts. So the first one is important for our body, but the last three are important to for our mind. So this practice is to give our mind some kind of food. I'm sure that you have your own personal practice, and gathering here and learning and practicing together is also kind of mind food that is equally important to the food that we consume every day, right? Um, Today we will start the first question from Venerable Subhuti. And again, during the class, if you have question, just raise your hand and I'll let you ask question or share anything that you would like. I don't mind you interrupt me, okay? All right, please share the sutra and one of our friend will read that. I think math, and today we have math and who else is reading?
Am I up now?
And Brother Nguyên Tiện.
Okay, math, you go first.
Okay.
Be slowly, please.
Sure. Subhuti's question. At that time, the Venerable Subhuti stood up, bared his right shoulder, put his knee on the ground, and, folding his palms respectfully, said to the Buddha, World-honored one, it is rare to find someone like you. You always support and show special confidence in the Bodhisattvas. World-honored one, if sons and daughters of good families want to give rise to the highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind, what should they rely on, and what should they do to master their thinking? The Buddha replied, Well said, Subhuti. What you have said is absolutely correct. The Tathagata always supports and shows special confidence in the Bodhisattvas. Please listen with all of your attention, and the Tathagata will respond to your questions. If daughters and sons of good families want to give rise to the highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind, they should rely on the following and master their thinking in the following way. The Venerable Subhuti said, Lord, we are so happy to hear your teachings.
Thank you. Let's spend a moment to contemplate the question. So first of all, this is the first question of Venerable Subhuti. When he before he asked the question, he showed respect to the Buddha. So there are different ways to show respect to someone. It is very important in Asian culture and Buddhist culture that showing respect to our teachers, our Buddhas, our elders. In Buddhist and Vietnamese tradition, showing respect to others, especially the elder, is a recommendable practice. In Anguttara Nikaya, which is one of the um, Nikaya Sutra from early tradition, Theravada tradition, the Buddha praised those who respect their parents like living in heaven, you know. He said, families where children respect and offer at home all monks are considered like Brahma. Families where children respect and offer at home are considered like ancient masters, you know. So, in other words, if you see respect and care in family, you know that that family is like heaven. If you see a community where respect and care are nurtured, you know that that community is prosperous, right? If you see a society where respect and care are promoted, you know that that society is where you should live, right? In this context, showing respect could pave the way for learning to occur. In modern American society, respect and veneration may not be necessary for one to learn anything. If you are smart, you can learn anything, right? And maybe from that learning, you acquires more knowledge, where you becomes more intelligent than other people. It could lead to the expansion of our ego, right? Because since this sutra is aimed to examine this ego, we have to take every chance we can to investigate our ego, right? Some questions for all of us to ponder is that can we still be a good practitioner with a big ego? Or, how do you understand the word good practitioner in Buddhist or spiritual context? Can we still judge, discriminate, or hate someone we respect? What could be the ultimate way or best way to show respect to someone like our ancestor or the Buddha? These are the questions, important to examine and keep our ego in check, right? Ego takes, everything personally, because ultimately all suffering comes from the unchecked ego, right? Without ego, where would suffering occur? Sometimes we say, I suffer. If without the I, then who is there to suffer, right? Uh, Socrates said that the unexamined life is not worth living, you know. So if we keep this ego in check, our suffering will be less and less. Some people, are confused between being authentic for who I am and having a big ego. We can be authentically egoistic or authentically egoless. Being authentic for who you are does not mean you should act or react out of your impulses, right? Who we truly are is still a mystery when our mind is clouded by discriminating thoughts. Who we think we are is a product of culture, tradition, society, and environment. We can only discover who we truly are when we realize who we are not. We are not a single entity that exists separately from other people. We are not independent from the world around us. We are not just this form, these feelings, and the perception of who we are. who we truly are can only be realized when we abandon what we know for who we are. So this is a kind of difficult question to ponder. The Diamond Sutra will help us transcend the notion of independent existence, right? So when you think about it, you have a self, a person, and a name and something attached to the name, right? You have a birth certificate, you have a house under your name, you have an apartment under your name. Those are not who you really are. Those are just a construction, social construction to just for the conventional sake, right? If we can, through this learning, transcend some of those conventional wisdom, then we will land somewhere where we are not being dragged by this ego. And we try to keep this ego in check, in Buddhist practice, right? One way to show respect, to keep this ego in check, is to practice bowing. We bow a lot. If you ask any Buddhist, they bow a lot. We do full bow or half bow. The practice of bowing has three significant meanings. The first one is you bow to someone to show respect because of their virtuous existence and their contribution to the awakening of others. So like you bow to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and so on. The second meaning is to be humble in the grand scheme of things. When you bow, you acknowledge that you are so small. Your ego is so small. And with that realization, your problems become small too, right? Our your view becomes small as well. Thus, we no longer, become attached to our view. That is the first step that we keep in check this thinking about, this is my view, this is my perspective, this is what is, right or wrong, right? More importantly, in this, the practice of bowing is from the heart, not being forced by anyone, and the third meaning is to be vulnerable. When you bow, you are so vulnerable in two ways. First, you have no self-defense because nothing to defend. You bow down, you become so vulnerable. Secondly, you choose to become vulnerable to open yourselves. When you choose to become vulnerable, you are able to share your deepest emotions. You touch your deepest emotion. This part is very intricate. We have to understand and practice with skills and pure intention. Otherwise, it will become something that someone may take advantage of you. The practice of bowing is very profound, and we need a safe and trusted environment to nurture it, right? So in this modern American society, bowing to someone seems unacceptable, right? Because I have my own view, I have my own agency. Why should I bow to someone? Bowing is not really um, for that person. It is for us. This is our personal practice. Remember, I said it is from the heart, not being forced by anybody else, right? In the Plum Village tradition, they have something called touching the earth practice. So each bow is like a touch where you touch the earth, right? So each bow they will have a something when you bow to let you hear and contemplate. For example, touching the earth, I connect with ancestors and descendants of both my spiritual and my blood families. Or touching the earth, I connect with all people, all species that are alive at this moment in this world with me. Or touching the earth, I let go of my idea that I am this body and my lifespan is limited. This practice is very healing and nurturing. So when you see you practice this regularly, like you practice meditation, it will help you connect with something bigger than yourself, something that is nurturing, and lessen the egoistic self that we hold dear. When we come to Buddhist practice, we have to come with humility. If we bring our societal, status into the practice, we are not free, right? We'll be stuck in that status forever. There's, no liberation, right? So the very first act that Venerable Subhuti showed is his respect. He is willing to let go of his ideas, perspective, and be vulnerable, be open to listen to whatever Buddha has to say. That's how he opened the door for learning and insight to enter. And from that, when it enter, there's no obstruction from his ego, so that he can generate wisdom. So I encourage you to practice, this touching the earth every day as a part of this spiritual practice. Because we have already established that learning only only cannot help us realize the profound, energy of transformation of this sutra, right? We don't just acquire more knowledge. We have to practice, right? And each practice I suggest you do is supporting you on this journey. Maybe, just three touches of the earth. You can, if in your house you have a spiritual corner, meaning that where you pay respect to, your spiritual teacher or your ancestor, that would be your corner, an altar. And then you face that corner, and then you practice touching the earth or touching the floor if you are on the top, on the second or third or upper floor. So it is a good practice for maybe before you meditate or after you meditate, right? If we were to meet in person, we would all do this practice together and experience this transformative, power together. Maybe in the future, and who knows, we would have an annual kind of retreat for such in person practice. The energy and connection will be more powerful. It is to create the best and conducive environment for transformation to occur. Such practice are helping to create good environment for transformation to occur. It's just like, suppose you have a wound that is getting worse, right? And you go to a doctor and the doctor clean it, stitch it, and maybe give you some, medication. Do you say the doctor heal you? No, he just, created the best conditions for your body to heal, right? Similarly, through these practices, we create optimal conditions for our mind to generate healing and happiness. So next time, if you are so willing, whenever someone that you love, make you mad, if you have their number, that picture in your phone, because someone you love, you should have a picture, on your phone, right? You bring that picture up and then do three touching the earth practice toward that person. And I guarantee you, you will no longer be mad at that person. If you really love them and you want to kind of, establish the connection again, do that. Or you may say, why should I bow to that person? He or she makes me mad. Why should I do that? See, still, if you think that they are the reason that you're mad, do the practice, do the bowing practice. You will no longer be mad at them. So, if you're so willing to try, let's do that. You are creating optimal condition for your, transformation to occur. Optimal condition, yeah? And transformation can only occur gradually. There's no way to fix anything that fast, right? All right, that's the first thing in this passage. Subhuti showing respect and asking the question. He said, "Word honored one, it is rare to find someone like you." It is rare to find someone like you. Remember the word, it is rare, okay? We will return to this word in the future passages. It is rare. So what would you consider rare in life? And why is something rare? Something rare is because something hard to find, right? Like diamond. Because it is precious, because it is important and unique. In Buddhism, we believe that having a human birth is rare, right? There's a story about how rare it is to achieve human birth. It is about a blind turtle. So suppose, the Buddha said, monk, suppose that this great earth were totally covered with water. A man were to toss a yoke with a single hole there. A wind from the east would push it west. A wind from the west would push it east. A wind from the north push it south, and a wind from the south would push it north. So like, crazily moving around all the time. And suppose a blind sea turtle were there on this vast covered water. It would come to the surface once every 100 years. Okay? You have that image in mind. Now, what do you think? Would that blind sea turtle coming to the surface once every 100 years stick his neck into the yolk with a single hole? So, blind turtle come up to the surface once every 100 years, and there's a moving around yolk with one hole, and then when it come up, then what is the chance that it took it, it necked into that hole? Maybe 1 in a million, or trillion. So it would be a sheer coincidence that the blind turtle come into the surface once every 100 years, would stick his neck into the yolk with a single hole, right? The Buddha then continued to talk about how rare it is to have seen his appearance in this world. So the first one, having a human birth, is rare like that turtle, but it's even become rarer. It is like a sheer coincidence that one obtains human state. It is likewise a sheer coincidence that a Tathagata is another word for Buddha, to arise in this world. It is likewise a sheer coincidence that the doctrine and discipline expounded by Tathagata appears in the world. So there are different things that are rare: having human birth, seeing the Buddha, learning the teaching, meeting a sangha, and practicing the teaching. So there are four, right? The Buddha, learning the Dhamma, meeting a sangha, and then having human birth. So now we all have achieved the three most difficult things. Having human birth, we're here, right? All of us are human. I'm not sure if you are all humans. Some of you may be aliens. Second thing, we encounter the teachings. So today and in the past, you have learned the teachings of the Buddha, right? And we have a sangha here. Sangha, we create a sangha here, and also your local sangha, or your spiritual companions, that is the third thing that is rare that we have achieved, as we have seen, that we have encountered. And the only thing that we don't have is to see a Buddha, right? See a real Buddha, not the Buddha in the temple, the in-person Buddha. So we only lack one thing. We achieve the other three, right? It is better for us during this time there's a Brahmin who, when he first encountered the Buddha, he saw the radiance from the Buddha. He asked, "Who are you, monk? Are you God? Or are you saint?" That Brahmin. And the Buddha said, "I am the Tathagata, teachers of gods and man." And that Brahmin said, "You know what? Good for you." And then he walked away. So he encountered the Buddha, but he didn't have the opportunity to learn the teaching. We, on the other hand, did not have that great opportunity to see the Buddha, but we have a chance to learn the teaching. So we are better, right? We would say we do not have enough karmically conditioned seed to encounter the Buddha. So in Vietnamese, there's the word that is so difficult to translate into English, which is duyên, nhân duyên, like duyên, right? So duyên, I kind of translate as karmically conditioned seed that we, maybe plant in the past, previous lives, right? So we don't have that karmically conditioned seeds to see the Buddha, but we have karmically conditioned seeds to learn the teaching, to meet the Sangha, and to practice the teaching of the Buddha, right? Today, we have conducive conditions to know the teaching, and have a Sangha. So what should we do? We should do is to take advantage of this condition, right? And Subhuti, he is kind of clever when he say, Buddha, you always support and show special confidence in the bodhisattvas. The Buddha showed support and special confidence in the bodhisattvas. Why did he show support to bodhisattvas? You're maybe in a class or in a sangha. If your teacher show special support and confidence in you, would that be wonderful? And there must be something in you that teacher shows some confidence and support toward you, right? So the Buddha, with his insight, he invested in bodhisattvas because he knew that those bodhisattvas would continue the tradition, would disseminate the teachings to many generations later, right? For those of you who know how to cultivate rice or any kinds of vegetable, first of all, you have to support and show, tend to the soil, right? If the soil is soft and nutritious, your seed will sprout and yield great fruits, right? Similarly, the Buddha knew that if he invests in these great practitioners, they would become great teachers for many people in the future. Whether the Buddha discriminate against those who were not good practitioner because he only showed support and special confidence to bodhisattvas, how about us? Of course not. The Buddha, he was like a guy, a teacher, a doctor. He gave us direction, and we have to initiate our own journey. If you are on the journey and always show effort that you are practicing diligently, for sure that the Buddha will always support you. We always support you. If someone is kind of lazy and not diligent in their practice, 1,000 Buddhas cannot help, cannot do anything for that person. So again, it's back to you. What happens when you receive the practice? If you are diligent and always persistent in your practice, for sure that this practice and Buddha will support you. But if not, then 1,000 Buddha, or even you meet the Buddha in person, he cannot help you. Just like that Brahmin, get the teaching and say, "Oh, good for you," and move on with his life, right? So in this class, we invest in ourselves and in others, right? We know that each of us has some responsibility in practicing and spreading the good, the benefits of practice to other people, right? So that is why we invest our time, our energy to learn and to practice. The word confidence is better than the word faith. There are several reasons. In confidence, there are understanding and investigation. Buddhism emphasizes understanding and personal experience over blind faith. The term confidence implies a sense of trust based upon knowledge, study, and personal realization. It suggests a deep understanding and conviction in the teaching rather than passive belief. And there is a sense of self-reliance because Buddhism encourages individuals to develop their wisdom and insight Confidence implies a sense of self-reliance and empowerment where, practitioners have trust in their own ability to understand and apply the teaching effectively rather than waiting for external forces to save them. Overall, using confidence in Buddhism reflect the importance of insight and personal experience in one's spiritual journey. It is never about blind faith. When you come to this class, I'm confident that you make a good choice to study together like this, and more importantly, you have the confidence in your ability to achieve personal transformation regardless of where you are on the path, because this path of transformation is transcending times and space. As long as you practice, so long as you experience the fruit of transformation. And most importantly, when the Buddha had special confidence in bodhisattvas, he knew that whenever they practice and disseminate the Dharma, they will benefit from it, and many people will also benefit from their practice. All right. So we have a question in the chat. How the Buddha will support me if I'm diligent in my practice? So when you are diligent in your practice, you know for sure that the Buddha will support you. The Sangha will support you, because that is the support not only come from external sources, but deep down with that practice, you grow more confidence in the practice. You grow more. The foundation of that practice help you, maybe lessen your suffering when you're dealing with difficult emotion. The practice will be a guiding insight for you to tackle that difficult emotion. Maybe you don't react out of your impulses. That is the way that the teaching and the Buddha support you. It's not like the Buddha will appear in your dream and say, I support you, but you with the practice that you come to do and have confidence in that practice, it will in turn support and have confidence in you. If you're not practicing, then no practice or no Buddha could help you, right? So we are at 8 p.m. So I think with this, we will turn to our next part, which is doing the breakout room for you to have a chance to talk and to share among yourself. So for this breakout, we will do the spiritual companions group. And if you're not in any group, we will assign you with other people randomly. Just, last week, we have several questions that I want you to share among yourself. One question is, what would a Buddha do if he were to live in this distracting world? How to, change, how to overcome distractions in your life? And the second question is how to make good use of your suffering. So I give you 15 minutes to share, and then come back here. Maybe one person can share with the whole group. Each group assign one person, and that person will share with the whole group. Okay? So are you ready to send people to their room? Welcome back. I hope everybody has a chance to share their practice and experiences. Okay, so let's invite Nguyen Thien to read the sutra again.
Subhuti's question. At that time, the Venerable Subhuti stood up, bared his right shoulder, put his knee on the ground, and folding his palms respectfully, said to the Buddha, "O Honored One, it is rare to find someone like you. You always support and show special confidence in the Bodhisattvas. O Honored One, if sons and daughters of good families want to give rise to the highest, most fulfilled awakened mind, what should they rely on and what should they do to master their thinking?" The Buddha replied, "Well said, Subhuti. What you have said is absolutely correct. The Tathagata always supports and shows special confidence in the Bodhisattvas. Please listen with all of your attention, and the Tathagata will respond to your questions. If daughters and sons of good families want to give rise to the highest, most fulfilled awakened mind, they should rely on the following and master their thinking in the following way." The Venerable Subhuti said, "Lord, we are so happy to hear your teachings."
Thank you. Right, let's return to the sharing just now. Any group has great insights that want to share with the whole group? Yes, Christina.
Hello. There was a few things that we talked about, actually many great answers. I wrote them down. So the first question was, would Buddha reach enlightenment today? And we talked about maybe he would reach it sooner just because of being exposed. You know, we probably wouldn't like the things that children are exposed to now, as he wasn't very happy with the busyness back then as he might be now. And then suffering, someone said, putting yourself in others' shoes to realize their pain. And suffering is an experience to learn more and use it as a lesson to help others that are going through the same issue within their life. And someone else used an example about their pain. More people are suffering more than I am now when they're feeling pain. And this helps to cultivate compassion for others. So using your own suffering and then thinking of other people's suffering and how you could learn from it and use it as a lesson and for experience in life.
I think they have some internet connection issue, so he frozen right now. So I don't know if you know any other group want to share. Yeah, Brother Wu, please.
I was discussing that if there is suffering, and suffering, I mean the worldly suffering that we have experienced now. For example, the serious sickness or some kind of difficulties that someone faces in this world. In Buddhism, is it true that when suffering arises, it appears to me that there is no way we can remove this physical suffering. You cannot remove it. The only way you can do it is to train your mind to withstand it. To withstand it. So in this sense, Buddhism will only teach us to develop a very strong mind to bear it, because we cannot remove suffering. And this is why in the First Noble Truth it is called dukkha. as long as we are in samsara, we will face dukkha, and this is dukkha, pain and suffering and grief, all these things there, which is in contrast to other religions. There's always almighty power who will, according to them, can remove this suffering from you. But in Buddhism, we have to develop a strong mind to endure it. Is that correct, or is there a better view in Buddhism? Better than the one where there is an external force that is able to remove this difficulty from your life. That's what we discussed a bit. I say like that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, and Jen.
We spoke about how the Buddha had perfect concentration even during the siege of Mara, when the 10 armies were sent at him, and that we have to believe that our effort can dispel the distractions, and trust that discipline can turn into habit, and that habit will be effortless. So that if you're gentle enough, that discipline doesn't burn you out, then you'll develop it into a habit, and it won't be as hard anymore. And then in terms of suffering, we discussed my personal experience with trauma and practicing the Dharma, just getting better with focusing the mind on the breath or on, chanting the Buddha's name. And somehow that coincided with my experiences of suffering minimizing, or it didn't have as much power over me anymore. But I don't know why it worked or how. So I know that suffering can be transformed through Dharma practice, but I don't really see what the connection is between increasing concentration and mindfulness and not experiencing suffering anymore.
Thank you. That's great. Anybody else? I want to leave some room for people. Yes, Margie?
Oh, hi there. So when we spoke about Buddha staying focused and all the distractions, we agreed there is a lot of chaos going on in the world today. Even within our own lifetimes, we can see the difference. But there were always distractions, no matter how many or what the severity of them were. We don't know even back then. But that he would feel the emotions of the pain and suffering that people have, but yet also be proud of those of us that are practicing, that are being better for ourselves so that we can make the world a better place. And through lots and lots of meditation, just maintaining his focus, breath work, things like that, that we do believe that he would be able to still find enlightenment. The path might just look a little different today than it did back then. And when it comes to suffering and transforming that, we try to put our emotions into our work that we do, whether it be our employment or just work in life, to try to turn those negative emotions into something positive for others. And where that feeling is even coming from within ourselves, we a lot of times tend to look outward in the external factors for what could be causing that, when what we really need to do, which we've learned in our practice, is to look within ourselves. And when we're mindful and we take interest of where those emotions and feelings are coming from, we gain control over them. And it was even described as being self-liberating, which I think is such an amazing way to put it. And also to increase our compassion for others. We might not understand where they're coming from or what the level of their suffering is, but we're grateful to have a practice where we are able to study these things and gain control over our minds in a better way with more and more diligence. And so just to try to be compassionate for others who don't have the same practice that we do or don't know what to do with those emotions. So really just being mindful of ourselves and where the feelings are coming from, and then to be more compassionate with others.
Well said. Well said. These are important. These are lived experiences that you all share. And I think many people will benefit from your own experience. All right, thank you for being here today. And today we'll have is that Denvi or Bauten?
Yes, Bauten.
Yes, we'll read the dedication of merits.
With gratitude, may the wisdom and compassion we nurture while exploring the Dharma Sutra illuminate our path. With gratitude, may it lead us to deeper understanding, peace, healing, harmony, and joy for all living beings. With gratitude, may our dedication to learning and practicing the Buddha's teaching help lessen suffering and guide ourselves and others toward enlightenment. With gratitude, may all find happiness, may all be free from the suffering, may all beings reach enlightenment.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Have a great moment whenever you are.
Thank you, thầy.
Thank you. Bye bye. See you
Thank
next
you,
week.
Thầy.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you,
Good with you.